I was trying to turn it toward me. Hey everybody, in just a moment, I am looking down at you because I'm setting up the page. But in just a few seconds, we are going to talk to Griz Jones, the leader, spiritual leader of Oakland Raider fans in Oakland. 66 Mob, make Oakland better, and he is doing just that. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight, so we're going to get right to it right now. I am setting up the meta tags. Hey Citron, how you doing? And in one moment, I will go over after I've finished installing meta tags, and we will say hello to my friend, Mr. Jones. And I am, as soon as all of these settings are saved, and I'm doing that. And let's see here, I'm scrolling down to make sure these settings are saved, and voila, all settings are saved. Hey, hey Maniac, how you doing? Hey Maniac, hold your questions so that for when I'm able to get over to Mr. Jones and bring him up. So that's exactly what's going to be my next step after I have switched over here, and like bam, like that, and then like so, we are there, and there's Mr. Jones in all of his glory, looking like he's ready for the next Steven Seagal movie. How you doing, my man?
Good evening, Zanny. How are you, my friend?
I'm outstanding. I am outstanding in this world, and I'm outstanding in the next world. And
Perfect.
Got it. All right. So yeah. So folks, those of you who do not know Griz, he is the longtime CEO of 66 Mob and Forever Oakland. He is also a person I'm proud to say that I know as a friend and gotten to know him very well very quickly, and has done a lot for Oakland, and still has a barbecue I haven't attended yet because I've been out of town a lot.
Well, I mean, we can always fetch you some barbecue, but go ahead.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Everybody says hi. Maniac says hi. Octavio says hi. John Santos says hi. ML Scott, hello. Steve Collins says this is going to be very informative. Chris Zamora says, "Hey Griz, it's me, Raider, Raider,
Libra.
Raider Libre, Raider Libre. That's right, from 66 Mob. Hey, I remember meeting Chris from at the Hilton, I believe. Yes.
Yeah.
Enrique Puentes is here, and hello from Vegas with respect, he says. And so
Hey.
we've got, this is going to be fantastic. We are going in great guns. We only need Barry Lee. If anybody is on Twitter, please tweet it out. In fact, I'm going to do that real quick. Just send out a quick tweet to get the ball rolling on social media and make sure that. And so just bear with me for one moment, because you can see it. Again, as I say to viewers who are here for the first time, the only drawback of YouTube Live Mobile is the fact that you have to engineer your social media and your meta tags as you go, and that's just the way that is, right? So there that is, and then also I've got to switch Twitter accounts, so bear with me while I do that, because it was on. I have 100 and something Twitter accounts. This thing was on not my main one, which is my largest one. So I'm switching over real quick here. And while I'm doing that, folks, ante up with you any questions you have, and we'll get right to it with Mr. Jones. And as I log out here, and then I go right over to the other one, logging out there, log out. I'm waiting for that to log out. How was your day, Greg? Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Danny. Go ahead and say that again.
I said, while I'm doing this, how was your day?
It was a fantastic day. Actually, we're still buzzing in a great kind of way from this past weekend, which was phenomenal and historical. So it's been a very good day.
Nice. And that's what I want to see. I'm just going over the Twitter account right here. Tell my viewers how you came to be involved in this, who are not familiar with the 66th Mob and everything else.
Came to get involved with creating the mob or the movement?
Creating the mob and the movement.
Well, back in 1999, myself and another diehard pro Oakland person decided to do an overnight tailgate for an Oakland Raider game. We were both the games when the Raiders moved back to 1995, but in '99 we did an overnight tailgate. And when we did overnight tailgate on the corner of 66th Avenue and Coliseum Way, we happened to feed a lot of homeless people that night. There were just hordes of homeless people that came through. So we fed them all night, and the following day we went in to support our Oakland Raiders. And since that time, we started overnight tailgating. We're the first entity to do overnight tailgating in such a fashion. And then in 2002, we turned it into an all-weekend tailgate, assisting homeless people, various charities. We took the term mob, because 66 is the street we tailgate on. Mob is just a term of how fast we grew in terms of a lot of people. And we turned the mob making Oakland better. And in 2003, we went from all-weekend tailgates to year-round tailgates. And that's how the 66 mob emerged at the NFL's finest. And when we took the 66 mob mentality and created a movement called Forever Oakland in 2014 to do everything in our power to bring the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, the NFL, and Oakland Raiders together as one, to put aside their differences so they can do what's right for our community, the greatest culture of people and fans worldwide, which is get a stadium built here in Oakland. So 66 Mob is what inspired the NFL's leading movement, Forever Oakland, and here we are today.
And not only that, on Monday you had a terrific press conference to really kick off the start of what has to be called the next phase in the Oakland Raiders history. Tell us about Monday's fantastic event.
Well, Monday all around was historical. Many people remember that Monday, March 27, 2017, when a group of people, that's the NFL owners, decided to allow our Oakland Raiders the option to move. And immediately, I was interviewed by Joseph Fonte, Channel 2, before the vote. I was hanging out with Zinni in the main lobby during that time frame.
Yep.
And I was interviewed by Laura Anthony, Channel 7, after the vote, and our message was the same. If the NFL elite even thought of allowing our Oakland Raiders, who've been selling out through several coaches, several quarterbacks, I can go as far back as Thursday night, November 20th, 2014, in the rain, we were 0-10. 0-10, and we're selling out all that year. And that's the first time our friend Lupo implemented the Stay in Oakland signs. We beat our mud-catered rival Kansas City. The atmosphere was magnetic at 0-10, and we went 1-10. And then they continued building under Jack Del Rio. We got to 12-4. This location and this area is so people-power driven. So when this group of NFL elites allowed and gave the Raiders the option to move to Vegas, immediately it was a crime. You remember that day, Zinni? You're there with Monica and I.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Griz approached us as well.
Yep.
So since that date, we started our own investigation. We spoke with a high-level NFL executive that week. We had a meeting with him. We sat down with Mark Davis for almost 3 hours, had a meeting with him, and have had continued exchanges with the NFL, Mark Davis. We sat down with our local municipalities. We sat down behind the scenes with our mayor. We sat down with Oakland A's president, David Cavill. And just in our own pursuit of finding out why things went the way they went, and instead of waiting for any public agency in typical 6-6 mob fashion being proactive, we decided we're going to make a citizen-driven initiative, and we took it to the next level. So in this process of investigation, we went out. I joined forces with my friend Ray Bobbitt, great man,
yep.
And we stand with Oakland. They merged under the Forever Oakland umbrella, and we retained the best litigators in the United States out of New York, Jim Quinn and Eric Hofstadt, who are very experienced to help us continue to investigate and explore our best options in the preservation and protection of the greatest culture of people and fans worldwide. So this past Monday, Zinni, on June 12th, we had the first of a kind press conference at City Hall. It was unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I think it just resounded to the world how serious we are, how methodical we are, how professional we are, and making sure we protect our identity for a lifetime. And that day ended with our Oakland Warriors becoming the 2017 NBA champs and Kevin Durant MVP. So Monday was very historical, and since then we've been kind of like buzzing. It's been a natural high, and here we are today.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the great days in Oakland sports history. You can say that again. So my viewers have different questions. Octavia Arias asks, how soon are we going to court? give us a view of where we are so that people don't get confused. Because it's not a lawsuit being filed right now.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll tell you this. Right now, to be the best, which Forever Oakland 66 Mob has, we hired the best. We hired the best for exploratory purposes right now. All we're doing is having these experts assist the NFL's finest Forever Oakland and looking at our options. So we have no court date. There's nothing along those lines right now. We're exploring our options.
Now, right now, can you talk about Jim Quinn and his partner and his law partner, Eric Hofstadt?
Yeah, it's amazing. Any of you that are watching right now, you go Google search Jim Quinn and Eric Hofstadt. Jim is JimQuinn and Eric is EricHochstadt. Their resume, especially Jim, is impeccable. Jim's had many experiences with world-renowned businesses, with the NFL, with soccer, with baseball, and being an expert at representing his side of things. He helped broker free agency in the NFL. Gene Upshaw. Everyone knows Gene Upshaw, who was a Hall of Fame Oakland Mayor and who was the president of the NFL Players Union. Him and Gene had a great relationship. So Jim has a pretty good aspect of the soul and heart of Oakland. So these guys,
yep.
If you're in the litigation world, if you're in any pro sports arena, when you name these two guys, everybody knows who they are.
Now, a number of people, Autumn Wynn Williams says, stand with Oakland, forever Oakland, and also he says, put your money where your heart is and contribute to the cause on GoFundMe, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and I'm also going to work on a Wix website so you can go there so that people have a home. I talked to you and Ray about that, and I'll have that done by Thursday. That's a promise as well.
Yeah, well, probably if you check, and I don't know if you did, Zenny, today we put a lot of wonderful things. We had our post-press release, our Forever Oakland State of Union address, and we also had a new page created with the information on what
cool.
the link is about. It's on your page.
Okay.
So when you get a chance, check out your page, let your viewers know. We blast it worldwide, and we're welcoming anybody, locally or worldwide, to assist this project for legal fees, for admin fees, for stationary fees. So yeah, you had that right in front of you, Zinni.
And Mr. Cooper, T. Cooper says, I enjoyed the press release on Monday, Godfather Griz Jones. That's what Mr. Cooper says. And Octavio says, great job, Griz. Love the professionalism. And Orlando Jimenez asks, do you think you think city and state leaders will have your backing if this goes forward? And I would say that you already have. You have Ignacio. Excuse me. I've got Ignacio on the brain right now. You got Noel Gallo. You've got Larry. You've got Nate Miley, and you've even. I mean, there's a number of people that are involved. That's a great start. But you take the ball from me.
Basically, what we've done, so everyone knows, is since that vote, myself personally in particular, we've visited a lot of the local politicians, the city side, the county side, the JPA. We've been dealing with these people directly for years. So myself, I know Zinni has no more relationship with myself, being a leading movement with wanting to make sure things get done right.
Right.
We've developed these relationships over years, and those relationships haven't stopped. They just grew. So basically, the municipalities understand, and the community groups understand that who we reached out to, including the mayor, this is a citizen-driven initiative. And it's the best way to be driven by us. And we believe we're going to have better results as a result of that. Sometimes things don't happen the way you want in the beginning. Maybe it happens at the backside. Now the backside stuff's happening. So we made it clear to everybody, we're leading this thing. It's the community that's driving this thing. It's the community that got the funds. It's the community that reached out to municipalities. And now these other entities are jumping in. So yes, we have some local municipalities jumping in. We'll be meeting up with some state officials at the end of the week. We're very excited about what we're doing.
Now, two questions. First of all, just a little station identification. This is the Zenny62 Live on YouTube channel. Please tweet, Facebook, and just in general social media that Griz Jones, leader of Forever Oakland, is on now. And also with that, we have Maniac 5900 says the energy in Oakland is electric right now. still don't get why Mark Davis wants to leave this. And then a maniac also asked if the Raiders have heard what's going on. He said, "Have they said anything to you yet? Are you anything you're comfortable talking about?" Or
Yeah, I mean, ever since the press conference, no, I haven't heard from the Raiders. I haven't heard from the NFL. We don't expect to, but I mean, we have ongoing relationships with that, so we understand this next step that we're taking is going to have a different effect on the relationship potentially, but it's going to show the seriousness. We know, and I think you understand this, Zinni.
Yep.
You know that Eric Grumman, you know Mark Davis have a lot of respect for the mob and for Oakland.
Yep.
And the NFL does.
Yep.
So whatever we do, it won't be a surprise to them, but those relationships will continue. They just will understand where we stand completely. We understand where they stand completely, and we're going to have to work this thing out.
Now, Raider Gans says, "I still don't think the Raiders are going anywhere. Has anyone else heard that there is another lawsuit in the works?"
I can't comment if there's another lawsuit in the works.
Okay,
and there is no, right, just so you know, Dan, there is no lawsuit from us right now in the works either. This is exploratory. So from our end, there's no lawsuit yet, and I can't comment if there's another lawsuit in the works.
Now, Octavio says, "You're making Raider Nation proud." And John Santos asks, Steve Macy says, "Hey, Mayor," I think he's talking to both of us. Me, Steve Macy's the mayor. "Hey, Mayor, how you doing?" He's the mayor. Griz is the mayor. Anyway, John Santos asks, he says, "How was the 3-hour meeting with Mark Davis? I heard he was still torn." That's his question.
I mean, I'm not going to go deep into it because we have certain things in confidentiality. I just know that both sides got a deep understanding of where we stand. And the whole meeting took place out of respect for us. So both sides got a deep understanding where we stand. The door is still open. Exchanges may still occur while we sit on opposite sides of things.
And Cougar Sniper says, "You got to come out and have some of the Godfather's gourmet. And I promise to cook you some good food along with Griz."
Is it Tor Cooper, the Raider heavyweight champ?
It's he says he's using the handle Coug Sniper. Yeah. And so and he's thanking me for helping you spread the word, which I'm glad. And he says it's Chris here. He says Chris here. Cougar Snipe says Chris here. Yeah. Don't know. Yeah.
The gentleman saying he's had some of the Godfather gourmet.
Yes. Say that one more time.
God bless you. Hey, God bless your soul, man.
God bless you, Chris.
I hope you do Godfather gourmet. That's awesome.
You got it. Hey, so, I get you, Cooper. He was referring to you. I know he was. I get you. Kook Sniper says 2 Chris's. Oh, there's 2 Chris's. Okay. Boy, I'm glad there's only one Zinni, man. I'm getting confused.
Hey, I'm glad you're working the keyboards. I'm just answering the questions, but I love everybody.
Oh, hey.
I love all your supporters, all our supporters.
This is awesome. Hey, so tell my viewers what the next step is. Now that it's out there, what's the next step?
The next step is we're just going to continue to explore our options. We're full speed ahead. This thing is moving fast, and we have provided avenues. I know for myself, since March 27th, I was hit up through personal message, text message, phone calls by several people who were agitated, who were irritated, who were angry, who felt like one of the relatives passed away. This isn't just something that hurt people overnight. This is something that's part of them because our identity means everything. And people are just hoping there was a forum created. People are hoping there's an avenue to do something. Well, we created the avenue. We have that forum. We've professionally created ways where all of you can get involved now to help push this process, to help take our wisdom of the inner workings, channel that to the best litigators in the United States so they can continue to explore full speed ahead on how to preserve and protect our Oakland Raiders identity forever.
Now, you've met Jim Quinn. What are your thoughts about him?
Jim Quinn's a straight shooter. Sitting there with him, listening to him, he shared stories. I mean, this guy goes back. He knows the prior commissioners. He knows the NFL owners. He shared some. It was just very nostalgic. He knew Al Davis. He knew some of Al Davis's folks. So the connection was very symbiotic. It was very natural. He's honored to assist us to explore. He believes that we're very organized for our organic grassroots effort. So Jim Quinn, he's a treat, man.
Yeah. Hey, any chance of getting Mark Davis? I mean, excuse me. Any chance? Come on, Zenny, of getting Tom Hanks involved?
We have people behind the scenes that are reaching out to him. His publicists, the people that do a lot of his PR. So that process is going on full speed ahead.
Now, Steve Macy asked a question I think I know the answer to. He says, I'm a little late today. Has this gotten to ESPN or any of the major networks? Say, Steve, I know that because I know the PR person, the idea, and Griz, correct me if you think I'm wrong, the idea really was to make sure it was saturated locally in the Bay Area first to really get politicals involved, and I think that's really working well, and then go national. But that said, I think it was I understand it was mentioned on Pro Football.
There were some. See, when you're in the moment, you don't. I'm not home watching it.
Right.
I'm actually at the press conference. So I myself personally, our press release went out on Friday about the press conference on Friday, June 9th. Right after the press release went out, I personally had 10 phone calls from 10 different media outlets, some local, some from the East Coast. So that press release alone definitely attracted some nationwide attention. Then on Monday, we had a lot of local cameras there. But what happens is, and then Zenny probably can test this, and I only can speak on this just from, I learned about the media from the ground up. I taught myself through the mob. I taught myself through Forever Oakland. I didn't go to school for it, but we've got a pretty good grasp on how the media works. The media uses different feeds, just like Zenny had a live feed. The East Coast entity or some of the Midwest can use one of our local feeds. So we were told East Coast entities did get word of this. Some of the publications got word of this. So we're excited that it reached out to many entities.
Hey, I got a text from Ray Perez asking to unblock. I didn't know I blocked Russell to begin with. That was Russell must have been something else. Hey, if I switch over, I got to take the camera off of him. So Russell, I apologize. Let me get you at the back end, off camera when we're done. Yeah. So let me do it that way, okay? Because I wish you had notified me, beforehand. I apologize, but the show must go on, as they say. Yes. I believe it was P.T. Barnum that made that statement. So for now, I am P.T. Barnum. Now, moving forward, I
am not eating Seagal, but thank you.
Do you mind if I explain why I believe we have a case?
I mean, you can explain all you want. I'll listen to you.
Okay.
All right. Remember, I just want to remind you, yourself and your one partners, this is a citizen-driven initiative for exploratory purposes right now.
Right.
But I'd love to hear Zenny's perspective. We all love hearing your perspective.
And folks, before I get to my rather pedantic and long-winded perspective, Henry Flores says, Zenny, what about having John Madden get behind this effort? Anyone talking to John Madden by chance?
I don't know if we have people talking to John. People heard his expression after the vote. He was very saddened and disheartened. There are folks like John Madden and guys like Jim Otto that Jim Otto is like an uncle to me.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
So
yeah.
I know where these folks stand, and those guys they're older now. They take more of a consultation position. They won't be on the front lines as much just because they're older.
Right.
So I can't speak for John Madden. I can speak for Jim Otto. Jim Otto's always there to listen and assist in any way he can because he's definitely pro-Oakland.
Nice. And Raider Gann says it was mentioned in the newspaper in New Jersey where he is. So hey, yeah. And
we heard Raider Gann. We heard that some people from New York called. Some of the publication up there got it. CNN got a little bit of it. So I think we had a pretty good punch on Monday.
But I'll tell you one thing. I just know that wasn't even trying. I mean, just wait till this sucker really pushes pedal to the metal. Woo! It's going to be all over, okay? Now, Henry Flores, I got Flores out of the way, and then T. Cooper asks, he says, ask Godfather, would it still make sense to build a stadium in Oakland even now during this time? My answer is yes. But what do you think, Godfather?
Here's a funny thing, and I'm not an expert, but I've seen things. Sometimes you want something to happen, and you believe it should happen at a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And sometimes it don't happen when you want it. It happens like a couple years after. So for whatever reason, how the stars line up, and I'll go ahead and say, I told people if I was in a leadership position with the NFL, if I was in a leadership position with any municipalities, or if I owned the Oakland Raiders, they'd be building Oakland now. So now we've definitely taken that punch, that Forever Oakland just hit mentality, making this a citizen-driven initiative to clear the way and to have municipalities jump on the backside, have entities jump on the backside, which may open the door for better things down the road. So this may be the way it was meant to happen, and I guarantee you, we have the stamina to do it. There's no question. We have the mind, we have the heart. We're professional and we're methodical. We're pushing the right buttons. We're talking to the right people. We've hired on the best in the business. The NFL and the Raiders know how serious we are. There is respect there, regardless of how things may, the relationship may alter as a result of what we're doing. So just keep on having the faith, man, because this may be the way it's going to get done.
Now, Steve Macy asks, he says it would be nice to get Amy Trask to get to talking about it. And then Maniac asks, he says, would it help if the A's announcement were that they were going to build a stadium? I guess he believes at Howard Terminal, or I know that there's also the Brooklyn Basin one.
I think, and what's happening, Radio Maniac is coming on one of our close sources. He's been very good on many levels, behind the scenes with us. Yeah, he has been. Love you, Joey, man. Love you, man. Your energy. He's 120% in it, and he's part of the inner core. So, but to answer your question, we all believe that the sooner the A's announce that officially, it's just going to assist things. I did have a sit down with David Cavill, and let me tell you guys something. If you haven't met him, he's got the right stuff. This gentleman and his fingerprints on how he's changed the Oakland A's. And when I approached him, we're approaching him out of respect for what he's doing for his organization. They have to look at what's best for the organization, and I respect that. And we're looking at what's best for the community and for that land. We want to make sure we preserve that land for football. We want to make sure that the best way to retain two teams is that land's best suited for football, because we know the A's ultimately are going to move offside as well. So the sooner they make that announcement, the better for everybody. We're just going to stay patient with that, because there's a new sheriff in town that's running the A's, and I think he's doing the right things, and we want to bond with that as we're opening these new work relationships to preserve that land for football.
Amen to that. Now, I want to get this out of the way. T. Cooper asks, has anyone gotten a hold of Amy Trask? Well, I went through last night the statement of reasons that the National Football League had released, and in that statement of reasons was the statement that over a decade, the Raiders have tried to get a new stadium built in Oakland. Now, a decade is 10 years. This is 2017. You go back 10 years, that's 2007. So I typed Raiders new stadium 2007, and I found Amy Trask quoted in Mateer and Ross at the time, because the rumor that Phil Mateer and Andy Ross of the Chronicle were floating was that the Niners were interested in building a new stadium with the Raiders. However, Amy was quoted by Mateer and Ross as saying, no, they were not interested. The 49ers also approached them, as opposed to the Raiders approaching the 49ers or anybody else, okay? And on top of that, she said, we have a nice stadium we're in right now, and we have no plans at this point to discuss a new stadium. She said that, which is 180 degrees opposite what the NFL claimed in its statement of reasons. Think about that, okay? So I tagged Amy with the idea of getting her on to talk about that. She has not responded to me. This is not the first time. Other people, Barry Lee, for example, have asked Amy, Steve, I think you did so on Twitter once before, to come on the show and talk about it. She has not, and we're connected on Twitter. We can DM each other. She has never responded to my request to this point. And she may be contractually not allowed to do so. But I am saying that it is in black and white that what the Raiders have actually done runs 180 degrees opposite what the NFL statement of reasons states. Right there.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Buchanan, for the contribution. What are your thoughts about that, Griz? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm just gonna, we're investigating right now, and what you share, obviously we're incorporating, as you know, so we're gonna take all the information that we can gather to help our cause.
Right.
I know Amy directly. The 66 Mob used to host events in the back parking lot of Oakland headquarters called 66 mob fan send-offs. And what we do is, I pretty much worked for myself back in the day, so I had control over my job schedule. And I'd take me and my 2 Rottweilers, plus whoever could take work off, in the back parking lot, and we would talk to the executives, the lawyers, the PR people, the players, before they're in uniform, on a very personable level. So we got to know everybody from top to bottom back then. We got to know the mentality back then on a personal level. If people were to ask me, and this is going to get back to Amy Trask, where's your home, Griz? Where's your church? Well, the Oakland Coliseum is our church on Black Sunday. That's a religion. Mob Valley is the holy ground. The back parking lot of Oakland Area headquarters was my second holy ground for many years. So I have a deep connection there. And we used to have these gatherings back in the late 2000s with Amy Trask discussing such things. So we had exchanges back then, but the current investigation exploration process that we're pursuing is going to assist us to gather what we need to continue to preserve football here and preserve that land for Oakland Raiders football.
And having said that, what bothers me about this is that it, just by the nature of things, it pits people against each other that I regard as family, and like Mike Taylor, who I've known for a long, long time. And did you know I was
relationship manager? I know Mike Taylor very well.
And did you know I was once a Raiderette judge?
I didn't know that, but it doesn't surprise me that Amy did it on thing. You're judging as a good lobby, Monica. I'm watching you. I can see what that comes in. But no, I had no clue. I know Santana used to make the radio boots, but that's interesting news, Emmy. Continue to fill us in, please.
Alec, you know who invited me to do that? I was LU's economic advisor in '97, and Alec Casal contacted me because, and I can talk about this now openly, the Raiders needed help.
Alec Casal.
That's right.
Yes, go ahead.
Alec Casal taught me all the NFL politics I know, and he taught me how the NFL works, on a familial relation level, right? And
Gotcha.
He said to me, "There's a guy, you know where Luigi's is, right, in Alameda on Park."
Yes, I do.
Right, great linguine. All right, we would meet there for lunch once a month for a year. My job was to help him get the necessary politicos together to reestablish the 49er Raider preseason game. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, but as part of that, he said, "How would you like to be a Raiderette judge?" That's how that happened. Right. So
how long did that last?
It lasted for a year. I had a habit of, George Atkinson will tell you this to this day. Okay. The hitman, right. Because we used to sit next to each other. We were sharpening our pencils, and he would say, if there's a woman that's over 5'6", I know you picked her number one. So, because he's just, he's 5'6", athletic. You like the Wonder Woman types, which is fitting because the Wonder Woman movie is out right now, right? So, if anybody out there, is a champion of the Wonder Woman as a Raiderette, that's me. I established the trend before anybody else, and George Atkinson will back me on that.
Gotcha.
So, but I say all that to say this: you go to that building, and there's always. Here's another story: Charlie Santana Jr., who I believe you and I both know very well.
His son worked for the Chevy dealership off of Davis Street.
Well, yeah, that's Senior. Junior is the son. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Junior works. Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, Junior. Yeah, my buddy. Yeah, Junior. He introduced me to John Gruden, and I had a football play idea, and John and I were talking, techniques. This was in fact, you'll love this. You'll know this. This was at the Raiders season ticket and luxury box parties. Okay, and that's where, and he introduced me to this guy. This dude was 6'7", 6'8", 300-something pounds. He was Mike Tyson's cut doctor. Okay. There's a picture. I know Gruden's got it somewhere of all of us. Okay, I had the best time. John Gruden invited me to come by Raider office and do a chalk talk, a whiteboard talk. I never took him up on it. Then, when I saw John at the 2004 Lee Steinberg Super Bowl party, I reminded John of that. John said, and excuse me, I'm going to curse for you because this is what John said. All right, I'm only repeating what John said. I said, "Hey John, remember that time you said call and come. We're gonna do a chalk talk, and he goes, yeah. Why didn't you come by? And I said, man, I was chicken. He goes, well, don't just stand there. Get the fucking napkin. And I gave him a play that he kept and he used to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. That's right. So, I mean,
okay.
I emphasize that this hurts. It hurts me because if the Raiders were part of Oakland like they should be, like really, we would all be
right.
one, and yeah, there's a lot of blame to go around. It's not just the Raiders' fault. I get that, all right? But my point is that it starts and it begins and ends with the owner saying, just like, remember we talked to Ziggy Wolf? We were at the NFL owners meeting he went by?
Ziggy Wolf? Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah. Remember what he told us?
His brother was sitting in on the meeting, not him.
Yeah. And he said,
I don't know. His brother, listen to it being honest. His brother sit on that boat. Ziggy was in that boat. He voted for Ziggy. Go ahead.
Yep. And he told us about what they did to get a stadium. Remember how he talked about the pride for their,
Yeah, but you know what he said? He said they weren't going nowhere, and he made sure to happen where they're located. He made that clear.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
That's our owner said no matter what the situation was, we're going to make it happen in Minnesota. Correct.
That's what I'm talking about, and that's what Oakland's beautiful, and that's what you want to see for Oakland. Okay, enough of me. But I'm just saying that I just never got a chance to talk about that because how much I love the way our community is designed. Like, and how much it hurts. It just hurts, It just hurts.
Here's what it is, I've repeated it many times. Several others have repeated it many times.
Hold on a second. Kenny, he did use the play. Sorry, go ahead.
No, good. That's good to know. My grandparents, who were born in Oakland, on both my mom and dad's side, and the grandparents of many pro-Oaklanders I know, laid this foundation that is part of our soul and our hearts. And it's what drives this community. It's what identifies with who we are. It's how we breathe. It's how we live. And when that's altered, it's the strangest feeling in the world that we felt back in '82 when the Raiders first moved, and they moved under kind of different circumstances when they didn't have the NFL owners vote. And it happened again. I mean, this is a travesty. This is such a dysfunction to this community, regardless of who's at blame. It's a crime. It's wrong, absolutely. There's nothing logical about it whatsoever. And because it happened before, it's happened the second time, and this community is flourishing financially, and that stadium is flourishing with a waiting list. There's no reason why we should be even discussing relocation, and we're so driven, and we feel so right about what we're doing to make the wrong right. That's why this is a citizen-driven initiative by the NFL's finest 66 mob, with that same proactive mentality we've taken to feed homeless people, that same proactive mentality we've used to have overnight tailgates, the same proactive mentality we've had to visit other away game venues, including Mexico City, England, and I personally was at those locations and in Denver, Seattle, speaking in front of hundreds and hundreds of pro-Oakland Raider fans expressing why our day is so important. So yeah, here we are now. We have hired the best of the best. We have the NFL's leading movement. We have all these community groups coming together who understand what you're talking about, and that's why we're so driven to make everything right.
Now, hey, John Marks, who's in Kelso, Washington, asks, I need to know how to join the Forever Oakland and stay in Oakland movement. How can you do that?
Piece of cake, man. We have a very strong social media presence, and I have a lot of friends in local and nationwide media. So social media-wise, the easiest way to get involved with us is go to Facebook, go to the Greg Jones Facebook page. That's Greg Jones. When you Google search Greg Jones's, it's the only Greg Jones that has a Forever Oakland logo as a profile. So when you see that, friend request, we'll add you. You can also visit our Mob Charities Facebook page. You can visit our Forever Oakland Facebook page. And you can see us on Twitter at 66mob and at Forever Oakland. We are so accessible. We are so active. We put out so much energy. It's easy for the world to get involved with us.
Now, John, Raider Fleet says, hey, Zinni, how about getting Bart involved? They have a lot to lose if they move. That's a good idea, Griz's idea. Any thought about approaching Bart or the Bart board? Or
Yeah, right now what we got going on is our core group, led by one of our Forever Oakland staff, Darlene Corrales, has created these sheets. And these sheets will be made public. They're called volunteer committee sheets that Zenny's going to be sitting on. Some of our core staff will be sitting on as well.
Yep.
So that's going to be an opportunity for these planning committees to reach out to businesses, reach out to public agencies, reach out to bar. We're not gonna leave one stone unturned. So that's you're thinking along the lines we're thinking. That's a great idea.
Hey, by the way, folks, Dr. Death just texted me. You can also go to his Twitter account. It's the We Stand with Oakland GoFundMe account. I think he's got a link over there right now, which I much appreciated. And also, now we've got another question here. T. Cooper asks, Godfather, is Ronnie Lott someone that you guys have reached out to?
Yeah, behind the scenes, we reach out to a lot of people. We reach out to Ronnie. We reach out to Fortress. Like I said, I've talked to NFL official. I had a sit down because Mark Davis, you were there, Zenny. He wanted to have a personal sit down with myself.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was.
That was still surreal, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because he wasn't celebrating nothing. And it was I felt like at the moment he was asking his older brother, me, if I could sit down and give him some advice. It was just an interesting moment. We're all just kind of looking at each other. And it was funny how all those your friends in the media that you've been dealing with for years at these NFL Olympics all came up to us saying, what just took place? What was that about? So, but yeah, so we've reached out to all the municipalities. Ryan Lott, he's been contacted. Fortress been contacted. What we've done is we made sure we kept every work relationship open for this next step movement.
Hey, by the way, Cougar Snipe, this is for you, John Marks. He says, if you're in Washington State, check out Northwest Raiders Booster Club. Northwest Raiders Booster Club. And
who's that talking?
Cougar Snipe. Chris, I believe it is.
Yeah, Cougar Snipe, I don't know all the names. The Northwest Raiders Booster Club out of Washington and the Northwest are some of the closest brothers and sisters to the 6'6 Mob. Dana Sipling, Jeff Schemmel. We have one of the members who's a 6'6 mobster and NW Raider, Chris Layton. Those folks, we have such work relationships with entities like the NW Raiders around the United States. I can go to 20 different states because of all the Raider fans we've fed over the years at the NFL's on this tailgate. Rest my head because they're family. And the NW Raiders are family to us, man. I'm honored you're watching the show right now.
Yeah, Cougar Snipes told us he says it's a great group. And we've got Octavio says, would like to speak with Griz to start a Panama Raider Nation chapter with the support of Oakland Raiders Nation. And so there you go. You're going to be getting a contact from Octavio, who's in Panama.
Would love to talk to you.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, how are we doing on time? Because I know it's 12:16 here. I'm fine, but I'm just checking on you. All right, cool.
Remember last time we talked?
I remember.
Sometimes you have a small time frame, but if goodbyes this time and take forever, I have no time for me. I got another 15 minutes. I'll give you that. I'll give you another 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. So John Allen comes on. Also, we had another question. Barry Lee says, Zinni, what about Forever Oakland try and get some musicians involved and have a concert and call it the Forever Oakland Concert to raise even more awareness and support? That's an idea. That's a good idea.
Man.
I like that idea.
That's very East Bay swagger.
Isn't that? I like that.
To all your viewers, please reach out to us on Facebook, and I'll tell you why. I'll iterate what I already mentioned like 2 minutes ago. We are creating volunteer committees right now. We are taking as many ideas as possible. And the beautiful thing about us is we'll listen to what we have to say. And if we like it, we're going to try it. Mm-hmm. We're super proactive. We're very hands-on. And all of our people, we're different races, we're different backgrounds. We have a high spirituality. We're very connected. We don't have drama. And let me define that a little bit. Life's obstacles or struggles is different than drama.
Right.
Everybody has obstacles from time to time. Tragedies, disease, they get temporarily fired from the job. That's not drama, that's life. In our circle, we're drama-free, man. We all have problems, and we're very down to earth, but this is why, please contact us. We reach out to everybody, reach out to us. We'll see how we can take your ideas, see how maybe you want to serve on a committee. Even if you can't be physically present, our social media presence keeps people mentally involved.
Right.
So we keep our doors open. I love that idea, especially here in the East Bay, where talent galore with music and entertainment and artsy. I think we really need to give that a lot of thought.
Hey, John Allen says hello, and as does Mason Free. John Allen announces Lagunitas Brewing may donate beer, musicians, and web presence in a party associated with a Forever Oakland. So there you go, right there, right here, right here.
Yeah, you know the thing is.
Hey, John Allen, the email I can connect you with Godfather Griz. I'm at Zennie at Zennie62.com, Zennie at Zennie62.com. I can connect you with Godfather Griz straight away. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Griz?
You know, if we have a Maniac listening, and so Raider Maniac, you're still listening, Dr. Death, you're still listening. Any of our supporters still listening, keep notes of this since I'm not writing, because we want to take that kind of stuff serious. So some of our supporters listening, then may be taking notes for our volunteer committees.
Yeah. And not only that, we've got Steve Collins said Metallica would do it in a heartbeat. Santana Slayer.
Oh, bring it on.
And Steve Macy says in Sacramento we had Rally to Save the Kings players came out, bands played. We had 10,000 people show. It was amazing. It can be done. Henry Flores says, Zennie, what about other celebrity Raider fans like Tiger Woods, Ice Cube, Metallica? That's a great idea.
I'm gonna touch on that real quick if you don't mind. Zennie.
Yeah, please, absolutely.
Here's the beauty of our organization being a part of this. There's no speculation in our mind or in our spirit that we're 120% pro-Oakland, period. And so we've made it clear to all the entities at large, this is the direction we're going because we believe, and there's no second guessing, there's no gray area, there's no black and white. And that resonates with celebrities as well. Yep. We would love to have celebrities support us. We would love to have bigger people support us. But we just want to make clear that we are 100% pro-Oakland. I've heard some celebrities talk who want the Raiders to stay in Oakland, but also said they can support going to Vegas.
Yeah,
to me, 100% pro-Oakland. And so your status means nothing to us if your heart and soul isn't with us 120%. So if your heart and soul is with us 100%, we'll welcome anybody. But we just want to make sure we make that message clear.
That's right. And I couldn't have said it better. And we've got T. Cooper says, Champ still here, Griz. And then Maniac says,
love you, Raider Heavyweight Champ. Love you, man.
And Barry Lee says, would sell thousands of people, I can say for sure, make national headlines. John Mark says, yes, MC Hammer needs to get involved. John Allen says, I know Tom Hanks would get behind this ASAP. Steve Macy says, we all got to give a thumbs up to Godfather and Zennie. Thank you so much. And Brian Guidry says, I am coming in late. Brian Guidry, jump in the water. It's nice and warm. T. Cooper says, I agree, Hammer should definitely be involved. Steve Collins gives 8 thumbs up, not just 1, not 4, but 8. And Patrick M. Blackman says that one day he has to visit Oakland. Patrick, you need to visit Oakland. Now, Oakland Raiders forever. Now, I want to get to this. Hey, what about, just shifting gears a little bit, talking about a famous Raider legend you and I both know, Clem Daniels for the NFL Hall of Fame. What do you think?
I've met Clem in the past. He's an Oakland guy. He's owned businesses here. He lives here. He bleeds and breathes Oakland. So if you're an old school Oakland fan, of course you're gonna say yes to Clem Daniels. Just so you know. So I know my grandparents would, my parents would, and I'm old enough to understand that old school mentality. So I have no qualms about him getting into the NFL Hall of Fame.
All right, nice. So it's on. Elihu Harris, the former mayor of Oakland, called me. He wants to start that movement. So that's, hey, there you go. A former mayor of Oakland getting him behind an Oakland Raider. How do you like that? I mean, that's you know what I'm saying?
Remind the former mayor to get behind the Forever Oakland movement as well.
You got it.
Awesome.
I talked to him about that. Don't worry.
That right there, getting behind our movement is #1 priority right now.
We will get, I will personally get Elihu for you. That will be not a problem. That's a cinch.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
You got an absolute cinch. Now, we've got to ask this question as well. What is it that if we're a fan just coming in to cold to this, what's the first thing you'd like that fan to do? I mean, let me ask a question. Like, for example, I would say if they have a Twitter account, get involved to help us tweet. You know, any little thing, you know. If they have a little bit of money, donate, you know, that sort of thing, you know.
We have a system and an aura. We have a ball of energy that's been rolling for years. And as that energy is rolled, that ball, we've added more to it. We keep adding more legs to the movement, and our social media presence keeps everyone in the loop of what that is. There's no disconnect. There's no long periods of time where people don't have the information. So I can't stress enough. Go to our Facebook pages that Zenny does have under Greg Jones, Mob Charities, Forever Oakland. Go to our Twitter page at 66 Mob Forever Oakland. We constantly put out different ways to have the general public help us. Zenny's page, we're constantly keeping the loop. That's the best way I could say it, because once you're in, we start communicating, then you're going to see how huge our network is. And here's the thing. Here's the beauty of social media. It can be used two ways, just like a gun. It depends on how it's used.
Right.
I love it because I love communicating. I love reaching out to people. I love connecting to people worldwide. So for me, I got to take my message that I built, that I believe in, and then I work with a group of people who have that same belief, and we get to push that message every day.
Oh, hey, Griz.
And we get to change that message every day.
John Allen says, tell Griz I got a check coming in big letters. It will be a decent sum. He said, wants you to know that.
You know what? And thank you so much. Every little bit, every large amount matters because your heart's into it. And like I told you, Zenny, please, when we go offline, you've been tagged today with that GoFundMe account.
Yep.
You'll see the new flyer page that Lupo created. It says Forever Oakland. We stand in Oakland. It has a top-notch picture of you were at Raider headquarters the day before we flew at the owners meeting. It's one of those pictures right there with all the fans. It's just perfect for what we're trying to do. So please bring that up when you can, Zenny.
I will do
that. So
you
can explain to people how to go to the GoFundMe account. And thank you so much for the bottom of our heart, and continue to reach out to us, my people.
You got it.
We need everybody who is pro-Oakland. It don't matter if it's small scale, large scale, as long as your mind and your heart's the right way. Even if you can't be there present, you can be there mentally. There's many ways you can help our process.
And Dave Cardenas says, Griz, much respect, hashtag Forever Oakland, always. Don't mean to take you away from the topic.
David Cardenas?
Yeah, and he said, don't wait. In fact, I'm glad he chimed in because I was going to ask. He says, Tame Ruben needs prayers. God bless everyone. Where are we with, yeah.
Hey, Zenny, let's take a moment, man.
Yeah.
Pause the audience so we can do a prayer for Team Ruben right now. Go ahead. I'll let you lead the way, bud.
A moment of silence for Mr. Ruben.
Ruben Contreras Jr., a young man who's suffered a brain tumor. We just did a charity for him back in May, and the prayers are continued. So to Ruben Sr., to Judith, to David Cardenas, Zenny, our viewing audience right now will take a 10-second moment of silence and prayer, please.
Right. Thank you, Griz. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Got it. Yeah, thank you. Hey, thank you. Are you sticking around, or you know?
Yeah, we got 5 more minutes, man. Whatever question you guys want, throw it at me.
Okay, because I'm going to be on past you. I'm going to be on until 1:30.
All good.
Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Nice.
Let me take a moment. And I know you get this from your folks. Thank you, Zenny, from the bottom of our heart.
Oh, hey.
For the relationship that we've developed.
Yeah.
How we connected. I believe I'm a spiritual person, I'm not religious, so I don't judge how people believe. But I believe that higher power brings people together for the right reasons. And right now, I'm going to tell all the supporters, all the right people are coming together more than ever, from the mind, from the body, from the spirit, for this Forever Oakland movement, the new leg added with us with We Stand in Oakland, and my partner, Ray Bobbitt. He's on a spiritual level, man. I love Ray from the bottom of my heart. All the right people come together, and we're going to do everything in our power to make the wrongs right, because we are part of the greatest culture of people and fans worldwide that represent Oakland, that represent Alameda County, that represents Northern California, and the world at large is going to be so grateful for the type of energy we're going to put into something to fight an injustice to make it right.
Hey, Dave Cardenas says, thanks everyone for the prayers, much needed. Hey, you're very welcome anytime. Come back anytime. Come here anytime. Stick around, please. Hey, also, what I want to report is I can tell you that there are a number of NFL staffers that are not down for the Raiders trying to leave Oakland the way they are. A lot of people just are still I mean, this is within league, the headquarters office
Yes.
are wondering what the heck is going on here. So if we continue to put together the kind of effort that we're putting together, you're going to see a lot of cracks in the dam. You really are.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is a lot of those people that are going to decide not to be in the fence tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you folks something. If you really, really want to be part of this, and it comes from your heart, we all have fears. We all have concerns. But when you're on the positive thing, if you're on the positive end of things, the right end of things, and if you've been touched, or if you're part of this culture that has every race conceivable, and you've been to an Oakland Raider tailgate on Black Sunday, and you want your Sundays, man, or if you've been to Mob Valley, the NFL's longest tailgate, where we do it Friday through Sunday, and you've been touched by that, and this is one of the few locations on this planet where every race conceivable comes together and is at peace for a common goal, get behind us. You don't care what people think. Who cares what social media chatter only goes so far. And this is what I was going to say. It's great that people make comments on social media, but the mob and Forever Oakland, we are proactive.
Yep.
So we take our beliefs, we project it to social media, but we're hands-on. So don't be afraid. Step forward, because this vehicle is huge for everybody. We all have fears, but we're deciding. We're like the kickoff team. The kickoff team has fears, but they go anyway. We are going forward anyway. Join us, because there's biblical scripture, there's old indigenous sayings that say, walk into the darkness of faith and have that faith. And right now, we'll help interject that faith, and we believe in what we're doing, because it's all about Forever Oakland, only in Oakland.
And something else, too. This is not anti-Vegas. I don't know if anybody's anti-Las Vegas. We just believe that, well, the Raiders were created in Oakland. The fans came up with a name in Oakland. Yes. And the only reason the Oakland Senors turned out as the name is because YC Chet Soda wound up calling everybody Senor, hey, Senor. And so it was believed. Hey, Senor.
At that time,
yes.
But my family that was born and raised here, it kind of reflected the Hispanic community, which is very strong here, but it just didn't sit well. It was just kind of slept on. And when they had that radio contest, and the community got together, they voted, what do we want? They said, Oakland Raider.
Yeah.
Autumn win.
Oakland Raider.
The autumn win. Yeah. The autumn win, and what we've done, my generation, is we've taken it to the next level, the new era called Forever Oakland.
Yeah, that's right. So it's something else too.
The autumn win.
Yep.
Yes. The autumn win with this new era, Forever Oakland. We are not the wherever the wind blows Raiders, because there's nothing Oakland Raider about that.
Yep,
it's all about autumn win, the East Bay, and it was born and raised here.
Do you know that the rumor is that Chet Soda fixed that fan survey? He had his friends do a write-in so that he would get more. He would have everybody vote. And it was they said, who wants it?
Right. They did right, because look at the Oakland Raider name was born here in 1960.
Right. That's right. And then Al Davis came in.
Hey, I got to get going here pretty quick, Zay, so go ahead and finish up, sir.
Oh, I was going to say, and Al Davis came in and made the Raiders what they are today. He gave a great image.
Yes.
And
God bless, God bless the soul of Al Davis and his wife, Carol, because that's Oakland Raider mystique. And I'll be the first to say, and I have a relationship with Mark Davis, and this ain't styling nobody, but Mark Davis was never groomed to be an Oakland Raider. That's why, I always said, if I was a leadership in the ownership, in the municipality level or NFL, there'd be a stadium built here. But now, the citizen-driven initiative, this is what it's going to take, with everyone else jumping in to make the wrongs right.
Hey, Mark's got to love this, though, don't you think? I mean,
if you work for the Raiders and if you work for the NFL and you're looking at what we're doing methodically and professionally, and you know how we are, you have to say, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Here's our people.
Yeah.
So work it out. That's where your people are. You want people like Zenny, I don't know how much you saw this, but when Monica and I were at the Biltmore all week at the NFL owners meetings, we had so much respect that we crossed paths with the NFL owners that know about the mob. She and I did. We had our personal experiences. Where some said, I wish we had a 6'6" mob. I wish we had a Forever Oakland. You guys are wonderful. And off the record, without saying names, they made it clear we feel bad for you because what just transpired had nothing to do with you folks. Every community and every NFL town should have folks like you representing.
That's right.
I'll leave it at that. That says it all.
No, and I think you're absolutely right about that. And John Santos says people are saying Mark could change name, but keep the colors on his way. Vegas leaving name here in Oakland if things get heated. John Mark says that he's trying to start an internet radio show program and he wants to help out. And so there's a lot of love here. Basically, a lot of great comments. Definitely are, Griz. So
and folks, please take that love, take that energy. Go to our Facebook pages. When I get off, if you have some time, then go find that tag. I tagged you. Please show the world. Get that GoFundMe link and how people can help. Mm-hmm. But the long lines that GoFundMe, announce that to folks. But reach out to us on Facebook because I will constantly exchange with our staff on how you can assist on many levels with your heart, your mind, your energy. And right now, we need it more than ever.
That's right. Absolutely.
Can we close this out real quick, bud? Just
sure. Yeah. So, hold on a second. You want to talk for a second offline? Is that what you're saying? Or can I?
I'll just say, hey, everybody, thank you for supporting the cause. Thank you, Zenny.
Oh, you got
Zenny,
it.
In my personal opinion, Zenny, there's no Zenny out there. There's only one Zenny Abraham. His whole process is uniquely different. It's pure. This gentleman puts the work in.
Thank you.
Regardless if people agree or disagree, this gentleman puts the work in. He's in this for the right reasons.
Thank you.
And for all of our supporters that came on tonight because you knew the Godfather was coming, man, thank you. This is going to be continuous. It's going to be nonstop. Go to our Facebook pages. Go to our Twitter pages. Remember, it's forever Oakland, only in Oakland.
And hey, folks, I'm going to stick around and talk some more about and answer some of your questions and from my different perspective, just to create the necessary firewall, if you will, to be honest. All right, and that way I can have my mouth attached to what I say.
Hey,
period.
This is for our viewing audience, baby.
You got
Remember,
it.
It's Oakland. It's Oakland.
Oh, you got it. Definitely.
When I get off, Zenny, I'll try to tune in the rest of your show, okay?
Please do. Yeah, Zenny62 YouTube. That's it. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, my man, and we'll talk later after your show.
Hey, and not only that, hey man, if you're around tomorrow at 2:00 Pacific, you might be busy, but Lee Steinberg's coming on. You can harass. Well, you can get after my friend for his 2 AFC West client quarterbacks.
I'm glad you brought that up. Just for our viewing audience, Pro Oaklanders, man, are in celebration tomorrow at a parade in downtown Oakland.
That's right.
For your 2017 NBA World Champion Oakland Warriors. So I'll be disconnected until the end of the day. I'm sorry about that.
Where are you going to be?
If I was able to break through, I'll tune in. If not, tomorrow's all about those Oakland Warriors, baby.
Are you going to Lake Chalet afterward? Or the Warriors going to have
I just know we're staging tonight. After we get off your show, we're talking to people for midnight. We're figuring out how early we get there. If we get later, all we know is it's going to be a beautiful cluster of wonderful energy tomorrow.
Sure
We're not going to try and build it. We're just going to land where we land and enjoy the ambience because these things don't come around that often. And that's why the Oakland Raiders identity is so important. Things like this don't come around that often, so we're going to enjoy tomorrow.
That's right. Hey, man, have fun out there and be safe.
Thank you so much, Jenny. You got it. Thank you.
You got it. You got it, man. Thank you. I'll see you. All right. Best. All right, folks. That was Godfather Griz, and he was kind enough to stop by and share the wisdom that he imparts and the friendship and also the knowledge, of where things are with respect to the exploratory phase of the work of 2 of the top sports lawyers in our current lives, So that was a nice exchange, like I said, a lot of energy and a lot of good people involved for a good reason. It's a nonprofit firm raising money, ran by a great guy in Ray Bobbitt. So I'll take your questions now. And John Davis has it. GoFundMe.com/We Stand with Oakland, right there. And let's see. I'll copy that and I'll copy that and I'll repaste it. So it's a copy like so, and paste there. That's it. All right. Thank you, Barry Lee, for the great moderation. And Ruben Ortiz says, hey, Zinni, after the press conference, my father and I went around Oakland, and we saw parts of Oakland we had never seen before. Oakland is a great city. Plus, we had an awesome lunch. Hey, Rim, where'd you have lunch? I'm curious. And Henry Flores, are you still around? I didn't want to leave your conversation, leave your question hanging, if you will. And John Mark says, I still have old tapes of our shows. Oh, okay, John. Keep that in mind. Patrick in Blackman says, something is seriously wrong with Mark Davis to underestimate the 66th mob and the fans of Oakland. He has been around Oakland for decades. I don't think that he underestimates the 66th mob. I honestly think that Mark Davis got himself in a situation that's more complicated than we realize. I'll put it that way, okay? Collectively. And he is undoubtedly thinking, what am I doing? It's easier for me to build a stadium in Oakland than in Las Vegas, right? What am I doing? So, the one thing, though, if the stadium were built here, I would hope he does not adhere to the 55,000 seat idea, and he sticks with 65,000 seats and makes it Super Bowl ready. I do not support the idea of seceding the Bay Area and the Bay Area Super Bowl rights, if you will, to San Francisco just because. I don't believe in doing that at all. I think that Oakland should have as much right to pursue and secure a Super Bowl as any other NFL city. I really do. So, but John Mark said it best. Don't mess with the 66 mob. Ruben says they should show more parts of Oakland. And John Mark says, Zinni, Autumn Williams and I used to work at Bay Area radio station together. Oh, right on. Oh, hello, Katie and Cam. How are you? John Allen says, but Zinni, he didn't know Ezra Rapport or Ed De Silva or many others, like you said. Now, I know them. He seems stuck on stupid, he says, and Bourdain is influencing him badly. I think in fairness to Mark, I think Mark does know those guys because he's been around. Remember, he's been a ball boy. He's been around the Raiders. He didn't just come in, out of the house, right? That's not the case at all. But my sense, I can't claim to have talked to Mark deeply about this sort of thing. But my sense is that Mark Davis wanted to start on a clean canvas. And I'm not referring to another city. I'm saying in general. Why do I say that? Because when Jared Bell, USA Today, introduced us, I got the sense that he was just excited. This was like 2013 at the Boston NFL Owners Meeting. He was just excited and ready to go, right? When I ran into him in Buckhead in 2014, he was with Bourdain. And I remember Mark grabbed me by the shoulder because I thought, I don't know to this day why Mark did that. Because I went up to just introduce myself to Mr. Davis, and Bourdain grabs me like this, what's up? I to this day don't know what that's up. And I said, Mark, just like this. I looked at Mark, I said, Mark, I'm family. What are you doing? He goes, oh, yeah. I said, yeah. So, because we've all known each other a long time. Not deep, deep friends, but look, it's like when you're in Oakland is a big city in terms of land area, but it's really a small town. And there's really a handful of people that are involved in it when all is said and done. And if you get involved in Oakland, it's really quick to get to know who's who. It's not hard to do that at all. Oakland is an easy city to get your mind wrapped around if you focus on it, okay? So, Bourdain was part of that. Davis is part of that. This goes back to your comment about De Silva. Thank you, John Santos, for the $5. Thank you. It's very nice. Oh, y'all are incredible. Thank you. And so, this goes back to your comment, John. And John says, I spoke to Bourdain and my name came up and he was not really nice. He wasn't mean, but he's not a nice kind guy. Oh yeah, what did he say? What did Bourdain say about me? Just write it down there. I've always wanted to know because I'll say it. You know, what does he say? What did he say? I mean, there's only so many things you can say about a person, right? What did he say? So what did he say? I'm curious. Now, Henry Flores asked me, Zinni, what are your reasons why we will prevail in the lawsuit? Well, Henry, that depends on how the lawsuit is designed. Okay, it's not static. And so, no, John Allen, I want you to tell me here what Bourdain said, okay? Because I think I know, all right? But, I mean, let me put it, I know a lot. And the difference between me and somebody else is I talk about everything, so I have no issue. So, yeah. So I want it here, John. I want it right here. Right here, okay? Because I definitely will talk about my end, all right? Straight out. Straight out, okay? Okay? Okay, so anyway, my whole point is that, as far as your point, Henry, the main point is that the lawsuit is designed in such a way that the focus is on good faith. The Raiders are toast. They lose before they escape, all right? Period. They lose before they escape. What I mean by that is this. A lot of people talk about the NFL's bylaws, but I tell people again and again and again that the bylaws are not part of the United States Code. They're not congressionally recognized law indirectly attached to the U.S. Constitution, okay? Now that said, the bylaws call for acting good faith. The bylaws also say that, and it's in black and white, that the host city must not negotiate or have an exclusive negotiating agreement, either by behavior or by written edict, with any other organization than the host community. The Raiders have violated that not once, but twice. Okay? Twice. Now the Raiders would point to another part, and so basically, here's the Bourdain thing. He says, Bourdain told me, as I own season tickets, that my narrative of Oakland is BS, and what is reported by me is wrong. When I asked Bourdain in the owners' meeting about the move, he cringed and had a negative look. My response, John Allen, is this. First of all, Mark Bourdain openly praised me for working on the Super Bowl and trying to bring the Super Bowl in Oakland, which I did from 99 to 2001. Okay? I will say this. I can run rings around Mark Bourdain. Rings. And I'm saying this on camera to you. You're a season ticket holder. You can tell Mark Bourdain I said that. You can send him an email. Rings around him. He said himself when he was named president that I did a great job, and he thanked me for my service both to the city of Oakland and to the Raiders. Why? Because had I landed the Super Bowl, are you listening to this? Had I landed to the Super Bowl, I'm glad you did this because I love this. I've been waiting for this. Just waiting. Maybe I'm just been waiting for this, okay? Had I landed the Super Bowl for Oakland, it would have meant $3,000 per ticket into the pocket of the Raiders, times the number of tickets they controlled. All right? So I'm basically creating millions of dollars of value that goes into the Raiders' pocket. You know who told me that? Ala Casal. That was before I was working on the Super Bowl. That was when I was working for Elihu between 97 and involved with Locasal between late 96 and 98. All right? That's one thing. So basically, here I am working my arse off to put that. So something that essentially puts money in the Raiders' pocket by the millions. All right, that's the first thing. Thank you, John Davis. Here's something else too. All right, Bourdain, Mark. All right, I know the Southern Nevada Tourism and Improvement Act like the back of my hand. And the one thing that I know, and you want to talk about, I can talk about different points where the Raiders have screwed up, The one thing that I know is that with respect to infrastructure, I mean, let's talk. It says right in section 29, I believe it was H, subdivision H, that the developer, okay, and right now the Raiders are recognized as the developer according to Mark Arnold, the attorney for the Las Vegas Stadium Authority that's under contract. The Raiders right now are recognized as the developer, that the Raiders would be responsible for, quote, an adequate, unquote, amount, number, cost for off-site transportation infrastructure. And that section specifically mentions NDOT, the Nevada Department of Transportation, as the organization that would estimate the total cost, which they did do in a report that was released October 14th of last year, 2016. What did they peg that price at? $900 million. Now, for those of you who may be watching, like, for example, Eric Brugman, who say, hey, Zinni, they say that that infrastructure consists of improvements that were going to be built. Oh, yeah, at some point. But you know what? As economists say, in the long run, we're all dead, right? At some point in the long run, these things happen. But the NDOT report, if you bother to read it, which I have 3 times, says that the objective is to have certain projects, a number of them, front-loaded. Like, for example, the 3 interchanges at $200 million each alone, okay? Alone. And it would be the decision of the Southern Nevada Regional Transportation Commission regarding how funding should be distributed. Oh, and before you mention the whole point about the fuel tax, let me tell you something else, Mr. Bedane, and I want you to listen to this, okay? The simple fact of the matter is that fuel tax distribution number has not been decided upon. You know it, and I know it. So to say it's entirely going to be paid for that is not only wrong, it basically contravenes the law. The law says you, since you're just identified as a developer, must pay, quote, an adequate amount of that. So, what is that going to be? What is an adequate amount? What would make them happy? $450 million would make them happy. You know it, and I know it. So let's stop playing games. You want to talk facts? I can debate you. I will run rings around you and blow you out of the stadium on your own project. Yes, I said that. I have made it my mission to know this in a way that others have not. So you want to say things, hey, to other folks, fine. But the simple fact of the matter is that when I ask you a question on camera, what comes out to other people is, hey, he's afraid to answer Zinni's question. That's the way you guys come across. You're afraid to answer my questions. Okay? You're afraid because you know that I've done my homework and you know that I believe I'm right and I believe that you're wrong. Unless, of course, you cite some part or some document, which I've done, and I will not disagree with you about that. But you haven't done that. You see what I'm getting at, John? Okay? Now, John says it's comical that they would call the Raiders the developer. McCarthy will be the partner prime on this job and will develop the prime, giving the Raiders developer rights in Vegas, jobs, basically. And John Allen says, I know you will, Zen. I thought about keeping it private, but hey, no, why keep it private? Okay? I mean, Mark sees me at the meetings. He can simply say, hey, Zinni, he could sell me, all right? I have a background in urban planning. I have worked as a consultant to developers, small developers who wanted to build, for example, on Staten and Grand Avenue, a type of Olivero-style farmers market, right next to about 2 doors down from what is now called Room 389, all right? And I did the whole market study for them. I did the absorption analysis, everything. That's one idea. My company, Sports Business Simulations, consisted of 2 online games, one called the Oakland Baseball Sim World, that 2 Raiders interns not only used and played because they were at USF, University of San Francisco Sport Manager Program, but they were using it at night from Raider headquarters. And how do I know that? Because I was analyzing my data and my information. It would say, Raiders.com, and that would come up, and they would use it sometimes for 3 hours at a time. Hello, my game of running a sports organization, the same game that Jerry Jones asked me to send the proposal of, which would have been called the Dallas Cowboys Sim World. The same game that the Raiders could have come to me and say, hey, Zinni, we want you to build a sport education game around the Oakland Raiders, but never did it. You want to talk, Mark? I can talk a lot. Bring it, baby. I'm ready. And I would just win. Or as Harrison Ford would say as Indiana Jones, I prefer a good fight to all this sneaking around. And I do. A debate. That's what I'm talking about. On your project, on Vegas, on its true viability. Yeah, I know you're kind of under some bounds, all right? I'm going to say something. When Mark Bedane was named president of the Oakland Raiders, I was one of the happiest people in the room. Mark deserves it. And I will say one thing more. Mark is at the high water mark of his career doing a fantastic job on an impossible project. But just because I don't agree with the logic of the project isn't personal at all toward Mr. Bedane. Not at all. Okay? It's not personal toward you. But when you talk about me to other people, okay, personally, and say I'm wrong, all right? But then you don't give specifics, okay? You just say that I'm wrong. I have the right publicly to say, no, I'm not wrong. And here's why I'm not wrong. Because I've heard that before. Oh, you're just wrong. Well, where? And you know, it's an interesting pattern. I love this. Thank you, John. It's an interesting pattern where a person says that I'm wrong, but they don't want to sit down and talk, right? Or get me in the room. John, are you aware that the Raiders asked me to put together a plan for them for a stadium in Oakland? Did you know that? Just asking. Are you aware of that? John says, sometimes typing is not my strong. McCarthy, got you. Okay. But John, did you know that? I'm just curious. I'm curious. Henry Flores, Zinni, if Mark Davis called you and offered you a job to help with the Vegas deal, would you go? Right now, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, John, you did know that, all right? Now, think about that. Mark Davis asked me to do that. John, I got them Piper Jaffray. I made the spreadsheet. If there was some technical problem with the spreadsheet that Piper Jaffray went over with a fine-tooth comb and blessed, they being Mark Davis and Mark Bedane had ample time at, for example, a Schaumburg NFL owners meeting to take me aside and talk to me. Or when Mr. Davis saw me at the other side of the room and I was eating, he could have come over and say, hey, Zinni, can I join you? I want to talk to you about what you put together by my request, because Mike Silver of NFL Network witnessed it. He put it on Twitter, and, you know, I have some technical issues, but I don't understand certain things, so you can explain it to me. I went through this with Pat Cashman, who was a consultant with the county of Alameda, who said that my idea wouldn't fly. I said, why? He goes, well, no hotel has ever been built of that size in the Bay Area in 10 years. I said, look, first of all, in this instance, the financing will be already in place the way it's designed. So we already leapfrogged the basic reason why a lot of hotels have been built over that decade period. Second, a type A hotel, a high-end hotel is being built as I speak in Emeryville. It might be finished by now. Third, John, the president of the San Francisco Hotel Council, when I ran across the idea to him, we talked about how there was a 16,000 hotel room shortage in San Francisco alone 2 years ago. Alone. The director of Visit Oakland, the Oakland Convention and Visitors Bureau, said there was a 1,000 room shortage in Oakland alone. And so you're going to tell me that the two hotels that are right at the Coliseum, the one hotel such that it's at the south end zone, you could walk into the atrium, wouldn't be used? And then not only that, do you know what my occupancy rate assumption was? Was it 90%? No. Was it 70%? No. It was 60%. I developed a spreadsheet concept and I designed and I set it up to break it. I wanted to see how few people I needed to get it to break even. That was deliberate. Then I would turn around and say, okay, how can I change this? And then when I went to Schaumburg, I told Mr. Davis, the first thing that I said to him, John, I said, Mr. Davis, I've got $2 billion for you. You tell me somebody else that said that to him, even in the case of Las Vegas. I designed it to produce a free and clear $2 billion cash flow for the Raiders over a 40-year period. Okay? So like I said, you want to talk? I could talk all night long about that. All right. So anyway, John Des says, what if they steal part of your plans? They have already, but they didn't know how it fit together because they never asked me. John Allen says, Bedane also discounted a 20-page document, so the timeline that independent journalist submitted on Facebook. I told him, as student of the deal, again, looked spot on. Yeah, I haven't. Can you share that with me? I haven't seen it. But my point is that he shouldn't just off the hand discount things because they didn't come from him. I mean, that's not a good thing to do. He could gain a lot of allies. All right. If he did, for example, what Mark Davis did with me, up with his plan. Okay. So, all right. So anyway, okay. It's 1:50. It's 1:58 a.m. Okay. Harry Flores says, Zenny, what are your predicted outcomes regarding lawsuit? Oh, John Allen says, I saw your hotel proposal. It was spot on. Thank you. John Allen says, was a timetable that showed the Raiders as. Oh, well, John, I don't know about. I want to see that. I mean, here's the thing. I only deal in numbers. I don't call people names. Like Bidet may say, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about or anything, but I'm not saying Mark doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm saying I know the project better from a number of different angles. Okay? That's what I'm saying. And the reason I'm saying that is because the one thing that I do that he did not do is sit down and put the whole thing on a spreadsheet by myself. He hires other people to do that. I'm not saying he can't because we both went to Cal. He knows how to learn how to do that sort of thing. All right? But we were this close, me and Dan Rasher, the sport management program, to creating baseball business dynamics. Which basically translates to sports and sports business dynamics. All right. So, hey John, I appreciate the time and I thank you for asking the question. You got a straight shooter answer for me. All right. I got nothing but love for Mark Bedane. But when someone says that I don't know what I'm talking about, I simply hold, here's why I do. Okay, that's it. Everybody has a right to state their opinion, but I have a right to present my counter, and I did. And I'm happy to challenge Mark to a debate on any day of the week. Now, so Barry Lee says if I don't know. Wait, hold on a second. Sorry about this screen being offline. Oh, sorry about that. It's not offline for me. There it is. Sorry to drop everybody. Oh yeah, no, it's not offline for me. Still working, Barry. Sorry, still working. And John Allen says, I complimented Bedane on his Cal education. We ended up speaking for a long time. I just feel he's against Oakland. Well, no, he is. But I think that rather than being emotional about it, which he can be sometimes, I just think Mark should just be he should just stick to the techniques. If he has techniques to present that counter what anybody is saying, including me, show them. All right? Like, for example, on market, Oakland is at the center of the San Francisco Bay Area. You cannot use a market study that only looks at the Oakland side, because then you would have to answer the question, well, how come if you're saying only at East Bay, why is it that the Raiders games are shown, in Santa Clara, which is on the West Bay, right? Which makes Santa Clara effectively part of the Raiders' overall market, okay? So that's a bad thing to do. That's a bad thing to do. When I worked to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland, one of my arguments was that the Bay Area may be the sixth largest population, but it has the at the time it had the third highest cost of advertising rates per ratings point. And what does that mean? That's a complicated, fancy way of basically saying that, hey, costs more to air a commercial in the Bay Area than, say, Las Vegas. What does that mean? It means that it translates into higher rights fees for the NFL and a higher haul, all right? That's what that means. So I talk techniques, not emotion. It's not a matter for me to say something is just better. No. Explain to me specifically what you mean on a data point. Explain to me specifically what you mean in terms of legislation. And explain to me specifically what you mean in terms of a design, a bond issue. I can go on and on and on. I deal in specifics. Yeah. Now, John Mark says, is Piper Jaffray located in Portland, Oregon? No, Piper Jaffray has a number of offices around the world. It's a big company. It's not a small company. T. Cooper, you know something, I would like to have a fun conversation with Mark Davis and Mark Bidet myself. And FTX168 says, the idea of hotel stadium on Coliseum land was an awesome idea, and if the A is built elsewhere and add a convention center retail area would bring in folks. And see, not only that, too, as I told the mayor a couple months ago, just saying you're going to let go of Oracle begs the question, well, how much convention space do we have? And how much do we need? Don't just willy-nilly make these deals without some understanding of what the meetings industry is like. It's called MICE. I forgot what the total acronym stands for. But don't just make these willy-nilly decisions without some economic development calculus in the back of your head, or on paper, better yet, that says, okay, if I make this move, I get that. Because you have a number of people in Oakland, musicians, cooks, artisans, who depend on meetings and events, sports events for their livelihood. Why take that away from them? Why take that away from them? Not everything can be biotech or tech. The cultural economy, cultural economic development matters. Oh, okay. And John Allen says, Zinni, you've done a lot for the team. I know the history of them coming back. It bothered me that Mark did not know De La Fuente, Rapport, Ed De Silva. I worked for Rapport, Ezra. I know Ezra. And then John says, I recall Al spoke to Ed De Silva at 1 a.m. in the morning, going over a copious detail of the agreement. In 95 to return the Raiders, but Dane and Davis could care less. Now, yeah. My point is that when you're among friends, as I would like to think that we are, right? You call them and say, hey, look, I've got this idea. I may not agree with your idea, but at least I like the fact that you have enough respect for me to ask, which is what the Raiders did early on. But again, if someone says that I'm wrong, prove to me specifically where I'm wrong. For example, in the Las Vegas case, a gentleman whose name I will not know said that I was wrong regarding the bond issue, even though, and I sent him a debt service estimate, which is on a par with what they originally estimated. Then he said theirs was lower, but he wouldn't answer my question as to what the number was. Even though I used an industry standard, and then I went back through the notes, and you know what I found? I found the debt service number that this person used was actually higher than the one that I used. Higher. But in the email to me, the gentleman said that, our estimate's lower. Oh, really? How? Did you extend it beyond the 30-year period? No, you didn't. How is it lower? Okay? I used LIBOR. I was generous. So that's what I'm saying. Talk to me in specifics. Don't just say that I'm wrong. Some people get away with that. They think, okay, I've got the title, and therefore everybody will believe me over this guy. And then I run the numbers and I show, hey, here's the difference. Ball don't lie, numbers don't lie. Remember that, kids? Ball don't lie, numbers don't lie. Now, Barry Lee says, good night, Barry. Very strong. Very strong. And Jabber says, what did Mark say this time? I see recent video on YouTube where Mark was saying Zinni is... Jabber, I don't know what you're talking about, because if someone says that I'm wrong, what are you talking about? John Allen says, Zin, my opinion is that Bedane is attempting to turn loyal Oakland fans against the city. You being an old city guy, they view as that and it didn't work with me. I get you. Yeah, it is a PR move with them, and that's the issue, okay? But the bottom line is, how someone views me has nothing to do with the facts on paper. Mr. Spock said it best. Even on this side of the galaxy, 2 + 2 = 4. And the one thing that cannot be, changed at all is that the Raiders have a line of credit of $850 million, and they have to identify $1 billion of sponsorship in order to have a chance of paying off that bond issue, and they know it. The $750 million is covered by the hotel tax, and even then the hotel tax is too small at 88/100%. You're listening to this? Okay? Why do I say it's too small? Because every time we turn around, each and every month, in fact, I think it's due this time, right? What's it going to be now? This time, right? They're always looking to say, oh my God, is it, oh, like this is like, I'm mocking, this is mock Las Vegas horror. Watch this. Oh, is it? Did we clear it? Did we clear it? Did we? Oh my God, thank God we cleared it. If it was at 1.4%, they wouldn't have to worry about that. They'd have a nice waterfall, and they know it. The reason why they didn't want it anywhere near there is because it would have put them over 3 competitor cities with respect to average hotel tax. Okay? But the bottom line is, my argument, Las Vegas could afford it. It would not put a significant dent in the demand that tourists have expressed for coming to Las Vegas already. They could have done it. And they wouldn't have to worry about, oh my God, are we close to a point where we have to think about a bond, possibly with the bond default in the future if the economy went south? But right now they are there. This deal was done in haste. And if Bourdain tells you otherwise, I know that's just nothing more than trying to pump positive PR where it doesn't apply. God bless him. God bless him. All right? So, let's see here. Jabber, yeah, you're going to have to go back in the stream, Jabber. I am, is this like 110 now? But, John Allen says, there are multiple ways to do a deal in Oakland, and Bourdain and Davis did nothing. But Jabber, the short version of it is that John expressed to me something about, that Bourdain said about me privately not knowing certain things, but he didn't give any specifics. And I've been down this path with certain members of the NFL already. And all I ask is, hey, you say I don't know something, I can tell you what I know. I can show you what I know. If you say that I'm wrong about infrastructure, I'll say, no, I'm right here, okay? And again, I'm going to repeat, the whole issue about front-loading projects was NDOT's idea, not mine. I didn't invent that. They're the one that wrote the study. It's in black and white. They wanted an adequate number of improvements, there's that word, to be able to handle the enormous trip generation volume that will be created by a planned 65,000-seat National Football League stadium, in this instance for the Raiders. That's the plan. But the bottom line is that Las Vegas didn't plan for this early on. The deal was slammed in Las Vegas' collective face, and now it's got to scramble for it. The simple fact of the matter is, this is a total of $4 billion project when all is said and done. And yeah, everyone should be afraid whether or not the parties involved can afford it. My argument is, they can't. They can't. Prove I'm wrong. There you go. Now, let's see here. Jose says, I understand that Vegas doesn't make sense except for all the money that they're being given, but they want to go, and the NFL greenlit, so what can happen now? Well, wanting to go is one thing, and not only that, there is this huge issue laying out there on the horizon regarding what was done that could basically stop the whole deal in its tracks. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is why would the NFL risk its reputation on pushing the organization into a bad deal situation? At the Las Vegas Stadium Authority meeting, I believe 3 meetings ago, he said, Bedane, that one of the remedies of escape from the deal if it goes south is, well, selling the team. But do you think Mark really wants to do that? Okay? And then you have to ask the other question. And this is the big question. You need John, I don't know if you're still around or not. Pay attention to this one. And there are 28 people watching. Maybe one of you is Mark right now. But my point is this. If the relationship with UNLV is so great, why not do a deal now and go to Sam Boyd Stadium? Why try to stretch out staying at the Coliseum as long as you can? Okay? Why not do what, for example, Spanos did, where she's going to play at StubHub? He's going to play in a smaller facility. The Raiders could do that, I think. Unless, of course, the NFL just said absolutely not. It's not workable. And if it's not workable, explain why. Does UNLV want too much? Is that opening the door for discussions that are not in the Raiders' favor? All of these questions are out there. They have not been answered. Okay? Not been answered. And again, this is not the 1960s. This is in the 1990s. This is 2017. We have social media. We have spreadsheets. Information travels fast, and you can adjust that information quickly and then reissue it. And we have, and at its face, stadium economics is not rocket science. I'll repeat, on its face, stadium economics is not rocket science. It consists of facility, fans, tickets, and demand, and a team. Those are the basics. All right? Phew. Now, Ruben Ortiz asks, have documents from Bank of America been signed or produced? Ruben, have not announced that. They are, by virtue or curse of the Southern Nevada Tourism Improvement Act, bound from releasing public statements that would answer that question. John Allen says, UNLV and the Raiders have no relationship from what I see. And not only that, John, think about it. They've had almost a year and a half to craft a deal and they haven't done it. I remember the Raiders' initial lease proposal, the one that Cheryl Nadelson identified as not treating UNLV well, the one that others have identified as charging UNLV rent, the one that some others have said that basically makes it look like the Raiders are treating UNLV like an unwanted stepchild. That one. You can argue that problem is still outstanding. All right? The SNTIA, again, the Southern Nevada Tourism and Infrastructure Act, the Southern Nevada Tourism and Improvements Act allows for UNLV, at the pleasure, if you will, of the Stadium Authority, to have its own PSL system. It says nowhere in there that the Raiders are supposed to get a cut of that. You know that's an issue for the Raiders. Just saying. Like I said, I could talk a lot about this one. Steve Collins says, plus they still haven't signed relocation or lease. Right. And there's that issue of a non-relocation agreement. Why haven't the Raiders signed that just yet? I'm just asking. Hey, the Atlanta Falcons signed a non-relocation agreement for its stadium project, and the Falcons have never threatened to really wholesale leave Atlanta. Okay, maybe there were some mutterings about LA a few years ago, but they weren't serious. And everyone knew they weren't serious. Arthur Blank loves this region. He committed himself. But they signed it anyway. They didn't balk. Signed it. Now, Jose says, man, please sell. Please let it fall apart. Hopefully Larry Ellison is still in the market for a pro franchise and wanting to build. Jabber says, yeah, They said if they default, they'd be forced to sell the team by the NFL. If they know that, it would be the consequence. Why force the deal on it? Rocky at best. There's something going on that I am not comfortable staying in a public setting, but I believe is the real driver behind this whole thing. And it's got nothing to do with a promise to the governor of Nevada, whom I might add is termed out. It's got nothing to do with that. So, but there's more to this that's led us down this path. Now, thanks, John. John says exactly, Zinni. Henry Flores says, hey, Zinni, do you think Sheldon will bankroll Forever Oakland Revenge is a B? Jeez Louise, you know what? That never occurred to me. I have no idea. Wow. I have no idea. I don't think that anybody has ever thought in that direction. I don't. You know, I mean, myself, I would be shocked if that happened. I will also say this, and it may get me in trouble with some people, but I believe the Raiders deserve a new stadium complex. But the Raiders, as Commissioner Goodell himself has said, are also partly to blame for not having a new stadium in Oakland. And they need to clear that up. The Raiders need to commit themselves to Oakland. Period. Because I can point out to you a litany of things the Raiders didn't do over the last, decade. And I'm the person who in 1997 pointed out that we were going to be in a position with the Raiders, because we brought the Raiders back and we created a situation for them that was not state of the art. But here's the flip side of the coin, all right? The Raiders didn't make sure that we put their stadium on a path to it being state of the art. Why do I say that? Because when the Raiders came back, there was a punch list of 136 items undone, like certain baseboards in the luxury suites, all right, that the Raiders themselves did not use as their letter and sent it out to others like myself as economic advisor to the mayor and say, hey, look, these things aren't being done. When are these going to be taken care of? What are the estimated costs for these? The Raiders did not do that. So the Raiders cannot tell anybody, we were on top of that. Folks, they were not on top of it either. Okay? Just saying. I have nothing but love for the Raiders. But the simple fact of the matter is that done right, they could have, in the Bay Area, the best stadium the NFL or pro sports has ever seen in its collective life. And it pisses that away. And that should make people cry. I'm telling you that. All right. Jabber says the NFL says the Falcons are grandfathered into signing non-relocation agreement. Raiders can't sign non-relocation agreements. Yeah, but Jabber, regardless of what the league says about the Falcons' grandfather, there are a number of deals in different leagues that call for non-relocation agreements. Why? Because it gives the financial market certainty that the sports team is going to be there to support long-term bond issues. That's why. And the Raiders and the Falcons are no different. The bottom line is that's what the markets want. I don't care what the reason is that they give, the markets want to see that. And Jeremy Aguilar, the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, said that one of the to-do list items was assembling and then signing a non-relocation agreement. After having said, I believe 2 meetings prior to that Mark Arnold wasn't certain that they were going to get the Raiders to sign it. That's an issue, folks. I have nothing but love for the Raiders, and I'm entitled to state my opinion. Let me say that. If Mark Bedane disagrees, debate me. On the merits of our arguments, debate me. I'm challenging you right now. I'm calling you out, Mark. Debate me. Now, nothing but love for you, man. Winner buys the loser. I said that the winner buys the loser, right? That would be a flip one, right? I'll bet you a deep dish pizza at Zachary's. Boom, there we are. Rock Ridge. Boom, there we are. Okay? There's the bet, Mark. I'm throwing it out there. Take it. Now, thank you. It's 1:23, folks. You've probably heard a lot more from me than I expected to say. But John, you struck the match, man. It's like Mission Impossible. Because when I considered it an honor when Mark Davis asked me to put that plan together. I don't think he understood the depth of what he had me embark on, and how proud I was not only to do it, but to accomplish as much as I did, as fast as I did, and for no pay from them. Which basically is the second time I've done something that basically put a lot of money in the Raiders' pocket without them paying me. The first time was the Super Bowl because the city was paying me, right? But the Raiders stood to make millions, right? Hey, this time the Raiders stood to make billions. Hey, so how can the Raiders dislike me so much when I'm turning around and spend part of my life trying to put money in their pocket? Please. Boy. Or as someone would say, hey, just use another smart black guy. Yeah, I said it. Jeez. And then they're gonna talk about me like that. Thanks, Mark. That's something else, man. But that's okay. Nothing but love for you guys. That's all right. That's all right. I'm out, man. I'm out. So, okay. John Allen says, I love the details in. Raiders always demand and do little. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But the Raiders forget who their friends are. Just like some other people. Remember who your friends are. I'm a friend. Remember what I did for you guys. Okay? You may have issues because you think I'm arrogant or whatever. Yeah, I am arrogant. So what? I get the job done. They made fun of me with the Super Bowl. They said I would never get as far as I did. Out of 11 cities, I got Oakland to won 3 finalists and almost won. And I'm still remain the only person in Oakland's history to get to that point. I challenge Bourdain to prove that I'm wrong. Can't do it. All right. I'm out, folks. Good night. Thank you for listening. It's been fantastic. And I hope you mark this one and save it for your files. Because I sure as heck am. All right, I'll see you guys later. Good night, everybody. Tito Jones says, you have said you talked to Mark before. Why don't you let him on the horn and have a sit down? Tito, I tried. Hey, Tito, I tried at Schaumburg. I went to him and I said, Mr. Davis, I got $2 billion for you. And I want to talk to you about the plan. He goes, oh, yeah, you've done a great job for us. Thanks a lot. But he just didn't stop. And then we were on the sides of the restaurant there in Schaumburg, and I went and I said, hello, Mr. Davis. He acted like he didn't want to talk. So, what am I supposed to do? And I'm there as media. I'm covering the event. So, hey, look, I just went back to being media. But the simple fact of the matter is he asked me to come up with a plan, and I'm uniquely intellectually equipped to do it. Okay? And if you laugh, fine, you can laugh, but the next step that I say to you is I can prove that I haven't done it. The head of the Joint Powers Authority, Scott McKibben, and the Oakland at-large council member Rebecca Kaplan sat down with me at Boca Nova in maybe it was May 18th of 2015, and we went over my spreadsheet with a fine-tooth comb, and they both said that I thought I covered. I had thought of everything. I crossed every T and dotted every I. And Piper Jaffray, investment banker, said the same thing. How much more do you need? And it was not just one person. It was 6. All right. Excuse me, 5. I'm losing count. All right. Yeah, Steve, I'm aware of what he wants. I'm just saying, hey, look, what you want is one thing, but just be nice to the people who've been nice to you. That's all I'm saying. I've been nice to the Raiders. I really have. Jabber says, Zinni, let's say Oakland was magically awarded the Raiders name and logo, however the team moves like the Browns. To me, the Davis family is the Raiders. I can't imagine the Raider team without the Davis. I can't either, And I do hope that we can come to something where everybody stays here and everybody's happy. Tanner Abbott says, awesome show tonight, Zay. Thank you, Tanner. I appreciate that. And sorry about the other day. Thank you. And everybody, it's 1:27. And Steve Collins says, top 5 live stream tonight, Zay. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Much appreciated. You guys rock. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, remember, folks, tomorrow, 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern, Lee Steinberg, sport agent representative to Paxton Lynch of the Denver Broncos and Patrick Holmes of the Kansas City Chiefs. Both NFL draft first round picks in 2016 and 17 respectively. My longtime friend Lee Steinberg. We're also going to talk about the Raiders' relocation issue from his perspective to Vegas. He is a proponent. I still love Lee. He will always be one of my best friends. I appreciate everybody. See you guys. Good night. Good night. I'll see you guys. Take care. See ya. Good night.